to Bar Z. My name is Stan. I'd like to welcome you to week number 13. This is our 13th weekly update. I'm not a superstitious guy. I will push the button on the 13th floor on an elevator if it has one. I will be happy to stay on the 13th floor of a hotel if you offer it to me. So I have no qualms about making week update number 13. So welcome to the unlucky week update. First up, I was going to talk about my knife making buddy, the one some of you remember I built a belt sander for him with some attachments and some quick change spindles and things like that. I was going to show you some of his work. You know, I finally put an eyeball on this stuff for the first time, and it's pretty cool. So here, let's cut to a few photographs. And back. And he's got a nice mix there. I mean, he does some professional kitchen knives. He's got some little short little hand knives that have a very Paleolithic look. Looks like some kind of fossil been buried underground for a zillion years. Even his tactical ring knives, they got that big hole in the back. They got a real tactical look to them, but then he puts a handle on it that's got kind of an organic look, so it's a nice mix. You know, he gun blues some of them, he polishes others, he does like an acid treatment with organic products. He uses leaves out of the backyard and presses them in there with acid, and it makes these weird looking patterns on the blade. So he does some pretty cool stuff, and he knows a lot of different techniques. You know, if you would go swing by and go see him. He hasn't got a website set up yet. He's still working on the wordage and some of the photographs and things like that for his website. But he's on Facebook, and it's K&M Edgecraft. And you could probably swing by there and throw him a like, and he'd just love you forever. You know, his name's Christian, super cool guy, and just go by there and give him a thumbs up. No obligation. You don't have to buy anything. Throw him a comment or something if you like what you see. Anyways, but I just thought I'd share that what he's making on my belt sander. We ran that annealing oven. Had a few issues when she came up on temperature. Here's one photograph of the temperature controller. It's showing 699 on a 700 degree set point. And back, and as you can see, we ramped that thing all the way to the top. And we had some door clearance issues at temperature. A couple little fussy things we had to mess with, and you know, it's just a fact that when things get hot, they swell up. You take something to 700 degrees and let it saturate, and it's going to swell up. In that case, the door frame and the door swelled up, and they made the door difficult to operate with the oven at temperature. So we had to make a hot adjustment, which is no fun. We had to re-anchor the door jambs and spread that door frame a little bit to make the door operate properly with it on temp. So we did a few hot adjustments on that. We adjusted the door latch with it hot. You just go out there with welding gloves and grin and bear it. You know, it was a 98 degree day, and we're sitting there working on a 700 degree oven. That's fun. But we got through it after working on that thing for, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours. We were just ready for a Gatorade and an air-conditioned truck ride home. But we got it done. Next up, I don't know why people save all their burner work for summertime, but over this last week we're changing out 2 burners over at a facility in Laverne. And there's 2 burners in there that are not that old. They were experimental burners, but they did not pass the California emissions, which is the low NOx test. They had a testing laboratory come out and measure the exhaust pipes on that thing, and it did not pass the NOx emissions. So these burners are getting changed out. We had technicians coming in from Wisconsin. We had technicians coming in from Indiana. We had a guy coming down regularly from Northern California. So they were coming from all over the place. They said, "Oh, well, we can get that power flame to work. Come on, well, just come pick me up at the airport. We'll go fix it." And every one of them couldn't get it done. So power flame gone, going back to the factory. I don't care. They can go down to the bottom of the ocean as far as I'm concerned. We are replacing them with the 2 Riello burners. But here, let's visit that job site, and you can see the difference in those burner types. So we're working on a burner change out. That is a power flame that actually failed in the emissions test. It was an experimental type burner. So this failed the emissions test, so these burners are coming out. That is a 3 million BTU direct fired burner. So that thing's coming out of there. And we've got another one over here inside this cabinet. That's the gas line going to it, the orange line. And we've got another one in here. This one's still intact, but we're going to be tearing into this one here in a little while. That's another burner that's coming out of there. And these are getting replaced with Riello burners from Italy, which are quite an interesting little unit. This one's called a Power Flame Nova Premix. And that black pipe there is a flue gas recirculation. It pulls your byproducts of combustion back down and sends them back across the burner again for a reburn. So that exhaust temperature gets higher and higher and higher, and that pipe runs about 800 degrees to give it another chance at burning up the emissions. But these burners were a fail on the emissions test. All right. So here, that one, we're starting to break this shroud down and get this one all pulled out, and then we'll get the new burners off the skid and start putting them back in. So burners were out yesterday, and these are the Power Flame gun burners. These are the old ones. And we just got a brand new skid. This one's interesting. It uses a stainless steel mesh to fire into, and it works a lot like a Coleman lantern. And there's the operating cabinet. But that's the actual firing tube there. So it's got that real fine stainless steel screen on it. And the igniter and the flame rod and everything are actually outside, and that screen just creeps a little bit of fuel air mixture out through there. Anyways, there's a crate of fun. You got 2 burners to put in, stainless steel air tubes need to go in it. So let's get this party rolling. Here's a better view of our burners. Now we got part of the crate out. There's 2 of them there. And there you can see your stainless steel screen where our air fuel mixture comes out. And that is the actual burner tube. So that's pretty interesting. This is the 3rd Riello I've ever installed. And these are an Italian-made Riello burner. The RX 500 PV lets you know that it's got a pilot valve, but the 500, that is a 2 million BTU burner. So they are taking a step down from 3 million down to 2 million. And it is a UL listed unit. We're here in the States. But those are your premix tubes. And these stainless steel tubes, this is some 304, these actually go into the airstream to keep the fan from blowing out the flame, which is, I thought was kind of interesting. And here's a sketch of that. Here's the actual burner head and the burner tube, but then this sleeve, the burner slides inside of that sleeve. And here it is pictured, burner head, and then the outer sleeve, and the air passes from bottom to top in this unit. It's an updraft unit. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So we're actually gonna pack up the trailer and get the generator, the welder, and we got some pipe work to do too. We're probably gonna grab the pipe threader and head out here and start welding this stuff together. Ooh, there's a top view. That's top down. Fan on the left, blows down, hooks a U-turn down at the floor level, and updrafts by the heater. Done?
Yeah.
And on this job we got a couple of VFDs we're putting on. And from what I understand, these faceplates, they are removable. And you should be able to, after you get one programmed, you can just take it out of one and stick it in the other and flash program the second one with the same parameters, which I'm actually looking forward to. So that's kind of neat. You don't have to actually go out and buy a flash programming module. These kind of come with it. These are made by Eaton. So these air makeup systems are going to actually be running 2 speed, so they're going to have 2 different set points. And that disconnect's coming out, going to get moved up to make room for the VFDs, so it's going to go disconnect up high, VFD below it, then the motors inside of that cage. These are 15 horse 480 volt blowers on this thing. But yeah, so in addition to our new burners, we're getting 2 freak drives on these things. And burners installed over there, and burners installed here. The boys are working. They're going to get started connecting a gas line, getting the gas line connected, get the regulators and everything back in. Old burners getting crated, going to the bottom of the ocean as far as I care, and freak drives going in today. And back. And both of those are gun type burners. One just fires into a bomb fin that kind of just swirls the mixture on the way in. And the other one has that long tube with the stainless steel mantle at the end. And I've seen smaller ones, or smaller versions of that burner running, and it looks just like a Coleman lantern with the silk mantles, and just kind of creeps the air-fuel mixture out from there. So it's going to be interesting to see those bigger ones running. Next up, what are we working on? Oh, I got a new, I'm testing a new comparator for testing square horizontally. Here, let me show you this. If I take this little square and I stand it up and I try to take it into a comparator stand, it's difficult to hold it straight this way and this way. So there's no real good way to get it in and get repeatable readings on a comparator. And that's vertically. So I'm working on doing it horizontally, and I've got a concept, and here I've got a little mock-up I'll show you. Here, let's cut to that. Hey guys, I'm doing some testing on a horizontal comparison gauge, and this is just a quick setup just to see what before I make the final product, and I'm just using a mag base. I've got a block of steel here, and then it's clamped to the edge of my surface plate, and I've got a small tab here bolted to the corner. Then I'm using a mag base and coming around. So we're going to start by calibrating our makeshift comparator here. Got a granite angle block, and I'm just going to bump it into our fence there, bring it up to the stop. And we're going to get ourselves zeroed. I'm going to pull away, and I'm going to make sure she repeats. 0. Going to let it repeat one more time. Okay, we're 3 for 3. So we're going to call that a good 0. We're going to put this angle block out of the way. And now I'm going to check my squares horizontally, which is actually pretty easy for me, because I can just lay it on the table up on a little parallel and just run it into that fence and just take this guy right in like this. And as you can see, I'm about 4/10 off of 90, and that's over 3 inches. And here's another one. So this is good for quick measurements of 90 degrees. And this is the way I've found the way to do it. Okay, that one's 1, 2, 3. That one's 3/10 off. So those are good. Here's another pair. And we'll do it again here. Up against the fence. That one's about 2.5 off. That one's right on the dot. So that's a pretty quick way to test my little squares, and this has been the fastest way I've found to do it. I am going to improve on this and make a permanent mount off the back for my gauge, and I'm still going to use this block and this little stop bolted on here. And I think I like testing them horizontally, so I'm going to improve on this. But this is my concept I wanted to play with. All right, thanks for watching. And I'm back, and that's pretty repeatable. I get good readings. I don't have to recalibrate very often. It's fast and easy. I'm very confident that I'm getting good numbers every time I go in and touch the stylus. And I've got my granite square block that I use for calibrating, and uses as kind of a standard to set the gauge initially. So pretty happy with that setup. I'm going to refine it some more. I need to make a fine-tune rod with a little fine-tune knob on it, and a circle type spring on it so it can return. But I think that's going to be good for checking my little squares. Next up, I've got next week. I've got about 600 or 800 feet of 2x2 square tube to process, and this was an order that I got late this last week, and it was for some material handling carts for a customer. And there's nothing commercially available that really interests him. He tried drywall carts and the Home Depot type, A-frame carts and things like that, but nothing really suited his needs. So he decided to go with custom-made carts, and so we sketched him out, and I've already built the prototype for him, and he approved it. And now I have 50 carts to build. Urethane wheels, cast iron hubs, roller bearings, all on swivels. Nice carts. 1,800 pound capacity per. So we've got, the whole order is 50. I told him we could crank out about 15 out of the shop a week. So we're going to start on those next week. So I've got burner startup over at the Riello job during the week. I've got people coming in from out of town for that startup, and I've got here at the shop The guys are going to be cutting, welding, and fabbing carts all week. Probably the week after that. So yeah, that's my next week or so. Not real elegant, but there it is. All right, guys, I want you to have a good remainder of your weekend. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for risking it and watching episode number 13.